All right, welcome to another episode of the Freezin NFC North Podcast, episode 58, 2023 Week 1 review and Week 2 previews. Homer versus reality takes again. Lions become chief of the jungle, Bears mauled, and Vikings raided. Plenty of time to get to all of that stuff, but I would be remiss if I didn't welcome everyone back. Thanks again for coming back, Craig. GA SKol, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm great. I'm glad to be back. Unfortunately, after a tough loss.
Yeah. You and me both. Seventh letter. How are you, sir?
I'm doing just fine, baby. How you doing?
Hey, I love it. You even bring in the the sounds.
Yeah. And the blue Kool-Aid.
And the Kool-Aid as always. Bringing the juice. And welcome in Dale, AvgCheese. You're not average in our book. How are you doing?
Great. Couldn't be better. I cannot wipe the smile off my face this week. I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep it as professional as possible.
Do what you need to do. So I was watching, just to preface this, I was watching the Bears-Packers game with the girlfriend, and she is a huge Packer fan. She was trying not to clap as much as she did. So we did survive the game. We'll just say that.
Your relationship survived?
Yes, it has.
Happy for you.
Yeah. So we'll see by the end of the season, the next game. Hopefully, the Bears can turn around. If not, we'll see. We'll see. All good. I've been working through some things, and we'll get to that a little bit. I did promise on Twitter that I would admit I was wrong, and we'll definitely get to that. But first of all, we have to give our props to the Lions, who are the chief of the North. And tell us a little bit about why the Lions came out on top versus the Chiefs last Thursday.
Well, for some reason, it just seemed like it meant a little more to us than it did to them. Of course, the absence of the two-star players didn't help them any. But Pat Mahomes still balled. His receivers was dropping the ball, and but he still played good enough to win.
Mm-hmm.
I just think at the end of the day, that day we were the better man that day. We didn't play our best, and I think that's kind of like one of the signs of a pretty good team is when you win when you don't play that good. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think we played our best at all, but we still won. So I imagine if those other two guys were there, we would have probably played better. Just for some reason, I don't know if it's just natural for people to play down to their competition sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like it just, I know we would have been sharper if they were there.
Yeah, and we welcome in Trevor here as we're talking Lions. We're definitely going to wait on all that Packers stuff that I know you want to get to, but we have to give our love to the Lions, and I thought that was a little bit crazy for, was it Mike Tirico to put an asterisk on it, and you play with who you got, and the Lions came out and, unlike some other teams in the division, didn't fall flat when they needed to.
Yeah, fuck Mike Tirico. And it's kind of crazy that it took them like a whole, they were holding all day. We beat the Chiefs and the refs to me because, they waited until like 58 minutes and 21 seconds to call a holding finally. And then waited a whole another 30 seconds after that to finally call a man offside. False start. So the whole game, and
the whole game.
I don't know what the guy's name is, but when he said no, that's illegal. It had to get down to them because he had been doing it all game, and they finally called it at the end. So.
Yeah, the whole stuff with the the lineman that was just the way he was lined up, and it was so weird for that to happen in the first game and continue to happen
all game, man. It was killing me. So, and shout out to Jahmyr Gibbs, man. Oh, my God. Oh, he getting that rock a lot this week. I already know.
Are you off Montgomery already?
Huh?
Are you off Montgomery already, or were you?
Oh, I love Montgomery, but I'm just saying. But when Jahmyr Gibbs touched the ball, it was just 11, breaking tackles and everything. Like, I love DeAndre Swift, but I always told you guys, man, he had like 3 touches, like 2 touches, 3 yards the other day. Jamal Williams, like even a touchdown, Montgomery's touchdown at the end. I could see Jamal Williams falling 3 yards into that. You know what I'm saying? Montgomery gave somebody a little move in there. Like, that's the extra. We left a lot of yards on the field last year. And no disrespect to him, but he had 19 carries, 40 yards. Like, we just upgraded in that position. So that helped. The secondary is much better. The linebackers are playing more cohesively. I love my rookies, man. Like all of them. Like all of them. I love them.
And you look at that game too. Who is it who's number 0 that had the fumble?
Oh, Marvin Jones.
Marvin Jones, yeah.
First fumble ever in his career. First time he's ever fumbled in his life.
And Lions still overcame it. I mean, Dale, were you pretty impressed by the Lions?
I was really surprised that it was the opposite of what they normally do. Last year, they scored a ton of points. Their offense was great. Their defense wasn't great. And this week, or in week 1, it was a complete opposite. Their defense was really good. I just want to say that we did a mock draft on our show way back. I had Jahmyr Gibbs in that 12 to 14 range. I don't remember. It wasn't the Lions that picked him. But that's a dynamic guy. You want guys like that with the ball in their hands. Yeah. It doesn't matter how big they are. Can they do something with the rock when they get it? And Jahmyr Gibbs is that guy. Yeah. The only worry you have with him is he's not a big guy. And if he takes a couple hits, he may be injured. But that guy is a dynamic player. I said it many times here and on our show. I think the Lions are the class of this division. But I expected them fully to lose to the Chiefs in week 1. So what you don't want is that the Lions get some confidence out of this game and just start running away with it early.
What about Trevor? What about Dan Campbell? Are you sold on him? Maybe I'll just mute you for the rest of the show here. But here you go. I'm trying to. I can't unmute your mic. Oh, that's a little bit ironic. Go on, though. Tell us how good the Packers are. No, we'll get there.
No, I like Dan Campbell a lot. I was really impressed. I just think he's a great, not only a great coach, but a great motivator. He gets in there and he knows what it's like to be a man and to be in those battles. And I think he just is unbelievable at being able to motivate those guys. And sometimes you need those pep talks. I don't care how much money you get paid. You got to get in there. So I've been impressed with him. I actually really like watching him. I love his press conferences. I like it all. I like everything about him.
And I know you do, Seventh Letter. You're the only one that
ever since he cried, I was done. I said he cares. That's it. He knows. He understands. Everybody didn't understand. Like he gets it. He has blood on the field. He played for us when we were 0-16. He knows. So when he did that, I knew he cared. I thought he got a fan in me forever. I love Dan Campbell. He just need to, kick field goals sometimes. That's it. That's it.
Well, let's move on to the Vikings, and then we'll get to our main event very soon. So, obviously, Craig, you were on the show, and you said it was one of the biggest mismatches. So tell us what happened, in week 1 for the Vikings.
The offense just couldn't get out of their own way. Kirk fumbled twice. One of them was because his right guard slapped the ball out of his hand as soon as he got it. The next was the clear rush that was coming at him that wasn't picked up and wasn't really recognized by him. And then the other one was he had another interception in the red zone. So 3 turnovers and just sloppy play overall from the offense. It really just couldn't get anything. You couldn't capitalize on some nice drives they had. They ruined three drives, a couple of them really close to getting points, and you can't really overcome that in the NFL. 0 turnovers by the defense and giving up 3 on the other side, and they still nearly won. I mean, it was a close game, But then also, I mean, the last 2 drives of the season, it was the anti-Kirk O'Chains. It was a 3-and-out the last 2 drives. And I blame really Kevin O'Connell's play calling for a lot of it. They started both of those last 2 drives with a screen to TJ Hawkinson. and it does, yeah, exactly. I mean, it's the stupid. Like, he's a strong at the point of catch. He is a catch the ball, get hit, and go down guy. He is not the guy that you want to throw a screen to and try to get 10 yards. And the last 2 drives started with a negative 3-yard screen and a negative 4-yard screen. It worked so well the first time. He did it again the second time, and you're like, "What are you doing? Like, it doesn't make sense." And yeah, just overall sloppy play. And I think they thought it was going to be a cakewalk too, because it seemed like they were just expecting to win and not really putting forth that effort to actually make it happen.
Now, understandably, I haven't been paying attention to Vikings Twitter this week at all. I've been a little bit preoccupied, but I always love Vikings Twitter. You know, win loss, it's always something. What has that been like after this loss to start the season?
Yeah, the fans have quickly turned on not only Kevin O'Connell, but also Kwesi Adofo-Mensah has really been taking the brunt of the beating online. I mean, and some of it for me as well, but his first 2 drafts, I mean, you look at it, and you have Jordan Addison on the first 2 drafts right now, and you're not seeing a lot out of those drafts. And some of the players he signed aren't exactly doing well. Marcus Davenport, of course, missed his first game and is probably going to miss his second game. He signs like these often injured top end talents that he thinks that maybe we can turn it around in Minnesota, and so far we haven't seen that. So I think fans are getting frustrated with the front office and coaching staff right now. Surprisingly, not a lot of blame on Kirk Cousins. Most of it is on we call him Cam, K-A-M, Kadosi Adofo-Mensah, and a lot of it on Kevin O'Connell, and just some frustration. And obviously the week 1 overreactions happen, and right now the sky's falling. And if they look good or happen to win on Thursday, then everything's gonna turn around.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it, the Bucs, with Baker Mayfield, it's kind of like, there's really no gimmies in the NFL, but you kind of look at what they were doing, and you look at the schedule, and the Vikings should beat them, but. The Bucs have a tough defense. Yeah.
What I say last week, I said they got a defense, and it's not a good matchup for them. Of course, JJ going to get his, but I think that's like the trick to beating them. Let him get 7,000 receiving yards and no touchdown. He had all those yards last year, 8 touchdowns. 8 touchdowns is respectable, but with all those yards, you would think he had more touchdowns. That's like Calvin Johnson when he broke the record that year. Let him get all those yards. Keep him out the end zone. And that's what you do. Once he gets there, and let the other guys beat you. And I don't trust Hawkinson. And Addison's a baby. And I guess Osborne ain't as good as he just kills us. He only played good against us. You know what I mean? I guess, but
so I do
terrible.
I do have to, everyone else picked the Vikings. I mean, this is probably the only one I got right. I did pick the Bucs to win. So I think I was just trying to go against everybody, but I'll take that W.
Well, you did say Baker Mayfield's really good last week too. So
I did, and I think he is. Huh?
I said they let him hang around. Like one thing about him, I don't know what it is about him at the end of the game. He sucks, sucks. But if you let him hang around, especially with those weapons, he's gonna do something to you. What's up with Pace? Why you try to hug him at the end?
Yeah,
got another 2-hand touch player on your team. Another flag football player. Hawkinson,
Baker was right. Yeah, Baker was 5 yards away from the first down, and Pace is like 2 yards away from the sideline, and he just kind of waits for him at the first down marker, and then hugs him and falls backwards over the first down marker, and you're like, "What are you doing?" If he just steps up and stops him there, they might have won that game.
Blow him up! He's running. Blow him up.
Pace has been a good story though with the undrafted, right? But it's
the best player out of the last 2 drafts, I think, for the Vikings, and he's undrafted, so it's.
Man.
I mean, Addison looks good. Obviously, first game one. It's you can't make judgments after one game, but Pace looked really good out there. Other than that play, it just doesn't. It was one of those things where I don't know if he expected Baker to run out of bounds or what, but he just kind of sat at the first down marker and let him run him over for the first down, and you're like, it's one of those frustrating plays that cost you the game at the end, or cost you a stop, whereas you had it and you just kind of let him take it from you.
Absolutely.
I think y'all overpaid T.J. Hawkinson too, man.
Oh, you're on that, yeah.
Yeah, but you don't pay all that money for that. I'm just sorry, not to fall at the end. Like, you just don't do that to me. You know what I mean? Like, he got to block. He has to be able to, when JJ's double, he gotta be the one, and he just don't have that. And that's who you pay that kind of money to. Period.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not that upset about paying him. He still produces a lot for the Vikings. He's good.
You need an O-line.
Oh yeah, that's opposite. That doesn't have anything to do with TJ. It has
that's money.
Yes.
Oh yeah, but like they didn't draft an offensive lineman. Like they didn't. That doesn't make sense. They should have been drafting guards very high last year, and they didn't do it. And you have bad guards. Like they're terrible. And then your center goes down early, and his replacement's just as good as Bradbury. Like Slotman is just as fine. He's fine. But like they stink at an interior offensive line, and they did nothing to help themselves in the offseason. So it's coming to it's coming. It shows game one, and it's probably going to show on Thursday with that defensive line in Philly.
Yeah. Jalen Carter's a bad man. It's Chicago radio has been talking about whether we should have just drafted him. 3 technique in the defense, perfect. But. We'll get to, some of that stuff a little bit later. But, I mean, speaking of not having an offensive line and not blocking, Trevor, I'll give you the floor here. Tell us what were the keys to the mauling of the Bears at Soldier Field on Sunday.
Trev, be ruthless.
I'll
be
take
ruthless.
off my...
He called it. He said it was going to be a blowout.
Let me have it. Did I I promise I didn't do that on purpose.
I think at the end of the day, it's exactly what I said for the whole offseason, that there's too many holes to fill in one offseason. In fact, Andy, you were on that train for most of the offseason, and then all of a sudden something switched. And I told you multiple times, I'm shocked that you've switched. Because you were logical until that moment. You turned illogical and delusional. I'm not saying that we were good. I'm not saying we're great. Okay. All I knew is there's too many holes to fill. And there's all these guys who are yapping their mouths over and over and over. And I kept saying, who is that? And I still don't know who they are. I don't know who they are. And at the end of the day, it wasn't your tackles were excellent. The PFF on the tackles are top notch. Did you go look at it? It's your guards
Braxton
that
Jones.
were horrific.
Oh, absolutely.
Horrific.
Absolutely,
and so
yes.
I think that's the thing. Like, how do you fix that? And I don't think you can fix that this year.
Better play calling.
I think you can try to make double team and having a tight end come in there and help you. How do you help a guard? I don't know.
They tried to do that, and I'll get into that a little bit. They tried to do that with trying to do the screens and all of that, but I'll definitely get into that more. They just did not do themselves any favors with being too predictable on everything. We'll get into that a little bit. I want to give Dale a little bit of chance to
get him down.
Give his keys. Bring it.
Get him.
So one thing, if there are any Bears fans listening right now that are like sort of teetering on the edge of their own sanity, what I don't suggest you do is go watch QB School with JT O'Sullivan. Have you seen this?
Did he do something on Fields?
Yes.
All right.
And I'm telling you, you should never watch it. After what I saw on Twitter on Monday, I would worry about your mental health and your safety. You'd have to take all sharp objects out of your home and hide them, because it's not the he was brutal on the Bears, and it wasn't just Fields and his decision making. He doesn't. If you watch that tape, you start watching it. There are so many things wrong with their offense. Like Trev just said, like there are so many holes. The guards are awful. The tackles, Darnell Wright is not there yet. It was his first start. He's a rookie. I get it. Right? Justin Fields was awful. And I know he was running for his life. So it's hard to be great when you're basically drawing stuff in the sand and running around like it's fifth grade. I mean, that's what it looked like after a while, that he had no chance to throw the football. But at the same time, he is not confident in throwing it into a small window. And this is the NFL.
No.
You can't, they're not college wide open anymore, Justin. You have to throw the ball where the guy is supposed to be, even if it's a small window. And he won't do it. He absolutely won't do it. And that's not good for the future for him or for the Bears. Honestly, after watching this thing for an hour, and it's an hour long, I don't feel that great about the Packers when the Bears are that bad.
Yeah. That's what I said. I said I still can't gauge the Packers because they really played against the JV team this week. It was bad. It was really bad.
Wow.
It was though. After come on, yo, you gonna leave? What's his name? The linebacker y'all got from the Eagles, the undrafted dude, TJ Edwards.
TJ Edwards, yeah.
And then he looked all fat nose. He looked all fat nose like Aaron Rodgers used to. Emmons go running to the right, and you leave him 1-on-1. And they hit that same route that I've seen Aaron Jones run 1,000,000 times. You know that's coming. You know that's coming.
Yeah.
It was a JV. It wasn't good. Getsy doesn't trust Justin Fields at all because if you look at his passing chart, he only went down the field once. That's it.
Not only that. Again, I watched this video right before, so now I feel like I'm an expert, which I'm not, clearly. But they cut off half the field. I think they were doing that to make it simple for Justin Fields. This is the half of the field you're going to throw the football to. But then you cut off half the field, and the defense figures it out.
Yep.
And now you've got 7 guys flooding that half that they're supposed to throw to. It's a recipe for disaster. They have to open it up, trust Justin Fields, and he has to trust himself enough to be able to throw the ball into tight windows. And if he never does that, they're going to be drafting another quarterback. I mean, I said it 1 billion times. I think he's got talent, but he was awful.
So I'm going to disagree a little bit on that. Obviously you watched that video, and I wouldn't say awful. I would say, he needs to improve. There was definitely a lot of, bad decisions. But when you started it out, he was 9 of 10, and then he missed, I think it was another incompletion. So he started out really well with some of the things that they were doing, right? And this is why I've kind of gone back and forth with people on Twitter. It's hard to, take the quarterback and say, this player is terrible when you have a terrible offensive line. Because if you give and that's why I've gone, back and forth on Twitter just to, throw the narrative out there. If Jordan Love was behind that the Bears line, what would happen? He would have gotten sacked multiple times, not having that. So that makes a difference. So what I want to say is, obviously, I did say that I was going to admit I'm wrong, Trevor, and so I am going to admit I am wrong on something here. I admit that I was wrong that Matt LaFleur is a bad coach. He thoroughly outcoached Eberflus, Getsy, and obviously I didn't see kind of that breakdown, Dale, on the plays and everything. But when you have the plays that they were doing, they were getting way too cute early on. And when you go for it on 4th down and you say, we're at home, we're going to set the tone, and you go for it, they had Cole Kmet snapping the ball, way too cute. And then you give a young quarterback with a great running game, a short field right away, a chance to get comfortable. And it was ill-conceived. It was ridiculous from the start. And it was, so I am, teetering on, I still love the talent of Fields, but I was wrong on Eberflus. I was wrong on Getsy, wrong on, the Packers coach too, LaFleur. They looked prepared. They looked, from the start, they looked prepared even to make adjustments out of the half. The Bears weren't there. Even Jalen Johnson, he said that they didn't have the juice. how do you not have the juice in game one? You've had 2 weeks to prepare for this is an important game. And so they talked about even Chicago radio. I don't know if you've listened to 6-7 Discord, Rev.
Oh, yes, I have too.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys enjoyed it, but it's been like, how like even Jaquan Brisker was calling out the fans for booing early. Like, really? Like, you put that kind of product out there, you don't do that. And it's like the fans cared more about this win than some of the players. And so that really angers me, that part of it. And so I was wrong on that. I was also wrong on I thought the Bears were a little bit further ahead. And sometimes coaching can hopefully, there were a lot of holes, but hopefully, some of the coaching can cover up some of that. And unfortunately, they've also talked to, it sounds like they've talked to, Fields, and they've kind of tried to talk him out of being him and to not running as much.
Right.
And which, like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
So that's what, and I hate it. I'm going to say this, but this is what I loved about Matt LaFleur, is that he, made the game plan easy from what I see for Jordan Love, and Jordan Love took what the defense gave him. Right. And I just don't know why the Bears coaching staff couldn't do that for Fields and say, okay, because there were early on, there was the run that Fields had for the first down. And I said, okay, if this is what we're going to have to do, let's do it. Go win the game. And, I don't know. I'll let you guys kind of respond a little bit to that. Dale or Trevor, do you have any responses to that?
I'll just say that they didn't call a running play. That was always Justin Fields making a play off pressure. Yeah. Maybe run a quarterback draw or something like that if you have room up the middle, and call some plays so he can act. He never ran the ball. He just ran for his life. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference there. It's brutal. And
with the offensive line issues, we had the injury, and we talked about this, that I was worried about the offensive line issues. You have that, and it went back to last year, worse than last year. And it just, you can't just continue to do the same thing over and over again. The Packers were calling it out after it felt like in the second half, it was demoralizing because the Bears kind of seemed to give up. It was the first 3 plays.
Only one was playing was Roschon Johnson.
Yes. Oh my gosh. That hit. Yeah. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. He
wow. So
you can't bubble screen people to death either. We know that's coming too.
Right.
So and if you're gonna bubble screen, why not eat? Why wasn't Equinemius St. Brown dressed?
So he's that was the
blocking wide receiver you got.
That's the biggest thing, and I'm sure you've seen on ESPN the story about Claypool now.
Big for nothing.
He really is. And so, but obviously that's not the biggest issue. Yes, you are right. I'm not going to jump off a bridge, even if I watch that quarterback video, Dale. But yes, Fields needs to get better. Needs to throw to NFL open, players. That's part of it. You get just the whole the coaching staff needs to trust him as well, and they just need to let it fly. If he's going to make turnovers, do it. Being aggressive, and obviously I've seen on Twitter a lot of people saying, well, Jordan, or Justin threw the interception, late, the pick 6.
What was that?
Well, to me, like, that was late in the game. He felt like he had to try to make too much happen, right? And I just, the game was, kind of, it was just out of hand, and so I was flipping back and forth. So I was kind of trying to avoid some of it, but I had to go back. It was like watching a car crash, and it just was not going to be good. So I was wrong on something. We'll take it that way. I do say, hey, you put Justin Fields with Packers offensive line and Aaron Jones.
Okay. You can say that all you want. You can say about anything, right? So go ahead and say that. The fact is, it's the Bears. He's on the Bears. He's not on the Lions. He's not on the Vikings. He's not on the Packers. He's on the Bears. And it's their fault for not surrounding him with talent. So, hey, listen, I just need to admit I was wrong too, because I thought the Bears were going to win that game.
So did I.
My whole NFC predictions is out the window because I was wrong that the Vikings were going to beat the Bucs. I was wrong that the Packers were going to destroy the Bears. You know what I mean? Like I was wrong that the Lions were going to lose to the Chiefs. It changes my whole week one, changed my whole prediction thing. And so I'm really frustrated, but I knew that this division was going to be the hardest one to predict in a lot of the divisions in the NFL. There's so many unknowns, so many who knows. I think the Lions are legit solid, and I know that you guys have been saying that for a long time. Sometimes I just want to see it for a full season before I I'm all in. But they look fantastic. The thing about Green Bay, though, just quickly, is we had every excuse in the book to lose that game. A quarterback who's only started one game. We're missing our best wide receiver. Our second best wide receiver is limited, right? We don't know we just lost our Hall of Fame quarterback. We don't know if the coach is good. We don't know. We don't have safeties, even though our safeties outplayed the Bears safeties. It's like
they did.
It's like every excuse we had didn't come to fruition. And that's why I was shocked. I'm watching this game. I'm like, what's going on here?
I told you.
I thought was good. Yes, I know.
Well, and even when I looked at that game, and when you looked at halftime, I thought, okay, well, the Bears, they've got them right where they want them, right? And I thought, okay, it's at home, come out in second half, make the adjustments. We were driving the ball better than the Packers. I felt they just weren't getting the touchdowns. They were getting the field goals, right? And so I'm like, okay, well, it's possible that the Bears can take over, but it was just, the Packers came out and the Bears stayed in the locker room, and you don't let that happen week one at home. And so, I mean, we could do some overreactions, overreaction Bears. Some people are like, throw in the towel. It's going to be 0-17. I could do overreaction and say, hey, we're still on track to be 14-3. Right. You never,
Bro, y'all need an exorcism, man. For real. Y'all look terrible, man.
Beyond terrible. It was embarrassing.
You and the Giants, man. Terrible.
Well, the Giants had
Giants
an excuse. The Giants had an excuse. I feel like and the Packers are better than the Bears. I'm gonna say that. All right. But I think the Cowboys are legit. I really think that defense is legit.
They're good. They're good. But here's the thing about the Giants. You can't have excuses for them. They were a playoff team last year. They're at home against their rivals, and you lost 40-0
at home.
That's what I'm saying, right? Like you can't. What can you say other than that was one of the worst displays of a talented, I'm not saying great, but a talented squad. But I agree with you, Andy. I think that Dallas D is legit, and I was targeting them in every fantasy league. I took them earlier than people say you're supposed to take defenses. Everyone was riding me for that. I literally won weeks because I had them as my fantasy defense. They are unbelievably good. They're who's the best? Probably San Francisco, and people say is the best. And then they would have said the Eagles were better. I don't think the Eagles are better anymore. I think Dallas is the best. Is either the best or the second best.
But was it Micah Parsons calling out the Giants for leaving Daniel Jones in?
Right.
So there's a lot of dysfunction in the NFL. The Bears are right, at the top of that dysfunction. I'm hoping this is a wake-up call for a lot of people in the organization and to at least kind of turn around. We'll kind of see. But when you look at week 2, some of the path to swinging to life versus the Buccaneers, it's not going to be easy. I mean, Craig, that Buccaneers defense is legit, aren't they?
Yeah, no, those linebackers especially were all over the place on Sunday. They were tearing it up, and the defense is fast, and so it made it even worse. The screen calls that the Vikings were playing just made no sense because you can't beat linebackers like that because they're on top of him when he's catching the ball. So the defense, especially when you look at the way the Bears play offense, that's not a good sign for them because you have to be able to throw the ball deep. And when the Vikings did it in the first half, they had 300 yards passing, or 270 whatever yards passing in the first half, and Justin Jefferson was on pace for a 300-yard game at one point. And the second half, they stopped throwing deep, and they were throwing these little short passes, and they couldn't get the offense going.
He had 29 attempts at halftime.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, they couldn't run the ball. I don't like the running game of the Vikings this year with Madison.
Y'all missed Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, well, and Cook isn't the top end, like top 3 running back like he used to be, but he's still much better than Madison.
Yeah, he nasty. He's nasty.
Yeah, exactly. And he's going to pop off one of those big runs for 30 yards, and you're not going to get that with Madison. So
I was gonna say, like, for the Bears, the path is get Rashawn Johnson in the game. He is by far he is the most complete back. He's shown that he was the only one that was actually in that game that was running hard.
Yeah,
and so that's what you want to see, and that's what I was excited about. When they drafted him, just hearing some of those things about him. So that's going to be huge. They targeted DJ Moore twice, and part of that is on Fields. He was open a few times, but they got to do something. And he got both completions, both first downs, I believe. You got to target him. Maybe they get Claypool out and St. Brown is in to do the blocking. So we'll see. It's going to be a put up or shut up for Claypool very soon, if not this week. So that's huge. When you look at defensively, I think Baker is prone to make mistakes, and I can't believe I'm going to admit this, but Jordan Love, he didn't make any mistakes. He played within the game plan, and Baker Mayfield doesn't always do that. Like, he's kind of that swashbuckler. So if the Bears can actually create turnovers, obviously they're not going to create pass rush, but that's a path to a victory. But if the Bears lose here, it's going to be just an interesting season, because we're staring at 0-4, because you look at Denver's tough, so it's going to be interesting all around. I do think the Bears kind of have an opportunity to get back in finally in the win column. I think the Bears. I'm gonna pick this one. I'm gonna say the Bears are gonna win 27-17.
Sorry, what week are we talking about?
Tomorrow,
week 2.
Week 2?
Week 2 versus the Buccaneers.
You just saw what they did to the Vikings, right? What do you think will happen to you?
27-17 Bears. I'm taking that.
Man, Baker Mayfield gonna look like Brett Favre.
That's right, man. It's gonna be 1 week you say Baker Mayfield's gonna be amazing, then they play your team, and he's not gonna be very good.
This secondary and the linebackers, they're going to come alive versus Baker Mayfield. So
yeah, I'm not seeing it.
All right, yeah. What do you pick, Craig, on this one?
No, I just think that the Tampa Bay defense, the way they played, how fast they looked on defense, and with Justin Fields just not willing to make those throws like you guys are talking about, I don't see how they're going to move the ball. I'm seeing something like 20-13. I don't think the Buccaneers are going to kill them on offense. They're not that good of a team.
You said 27-13?
Yeah, 20-13. I think
20-13.
I think something like that with the Buccaneers win. I don't think the Bucs are that great of a team. The Vikings played horrible, could have got out of their own way, and still almost won that game with a -3 turnover margin. So it's not like they got killed by them, and the Vikings played like crap. So I just don't think that Tampa Bay defense is going to allow the Bears to move the ball. And like I said, I'm not a Fields believer going into this year. And week 1 is kind of how I expected it to go for Fields. I just didn't expect the Packers to play that well. But I don't think the Bears have enough to beat that defense.
Seventh letter, you're not picking the Bears yet.
Number one, Justin Fields gonna hold the ball too long this week. Yeah. Also, another thing, y'all often seems like y'all want to bubble screen people to death. You're not gonna bubble screen the Bucs. It's not gonna happen.
Getsy better get it at
that second level. Y'all gonna get it might get ugly, to be honest. It might get ugly again. So I'm gonna call it 24-10.
24-10, okay. Yeah. 24-10 Bucs.
Yeah. It might get ugly for real. Because if y'all don't trust the quarterback to throw the ball, like, you're not really gonna I don't know. I just don't see it. This is not another bad matchup for you. A bad matchup. They create bad matchups for people like fast quarterbacks and like usually cover 2 defenses kind of do. And if they get a pass rush, and obviously y'all don't really have the best guards and stuff, so oh my God, they're just gonna be they're just gonna be pushing shit back.
That's what I'm a little worried too. Yeah, Dale, did the Packers kind of do that? They had a spy on Fields. Is that kind of how they did it, or no? How did they do that?
I didn't think they spied. They kind of left Quay Walker out. Maybe Quay Walker was spying. Maybe that's why he was invisible in this game. I don't know. Like, I didn't watch the defensive side of the ball very much.
He wasn't invisible in the third quarter. You got it.
Well, he had one pick, but I think he had one tackle too.
He did.
Yeah, he was awful. But I don't think you spied Justin Fields because I don't think they're gonna. Well, unless they start calling running plays for him, you don't do that if he's just gonna stand back there and run for his life, because you can't. You're not gonna tackle Justin Fields one-on-one in space. So what? Why would you spy with especially with a linebacker who can't run with him, or a safety who is going to get run over the top of? I don't see that as being an option for defense.
So are you picking the Bears this week?
No, the Bears can't score more than 10 points in a game.
Wow. Okay. So what's your final score?
I think 24-10 is where I was going too. I think they're going to lose 24-10.
All right, everyone's piling on. Trevor.
All right. Dude, Vea is going to destroy those guys. He's going to get 3 sacks.
Wow, okay.
He's going to get 3 sacks. I know that Justin Fields can move, but when there's a beast like him there, I do not think something's going to happen. He's going to go into him. I don't know what's going to happen. All I know is I think their offense is competent. Godwin and Evans, wow. They just produce. They just produce. And I think Rashid White is going to look like he's like a top 10 back. That's what I think it was going to be. So I'm saying blowout, okay? And I'm going 35-13.
Wow. All right.
Yeah. I just do not believe in it.
Talk about the run. I believe it was it 2.6 or 2.9 yards per carry so the Bears actually ironically stopped the run, but didn't stop Aaron Jones, right? Like that's just.
But that's what I'm saying is, I should say Rashid White is it Rashad, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Rashad White. He is really good catching the ball out of the backfield. So I actually think that's one of the reasons why I think he'll have good value this week. But he's going to look good. Sorry, what I saw last week, I just can't see.
I totally get it. I'm sticking with my Bears for now. That they are not. I'm not overreacting like many people on Chicago radio. They said, although I am getting close to the fire Eberflus train. We'll see if he doesn't have them ready and use your weapon, use Fields, use his gifts. Win games. You have to start. It's almost like I've heard it compared to the Lions last year. I mean, what did they start? They started out, was it 1-6?
6. Yeah.
And yet then they started to figure out how to win games. That's been the big thing. The Bears have to figure out how to win games. Yes, we need more talent, but you also have to figure out how to win games. And coming back from just an embarrassing showing versus the Packers, they have to do it. It's going to be just crazy if they do not, because then you're facing Chiefs, another tough defense in the Broncos. So I'm sticking with my Bears for now, but we'll see. So let's kind of move on. The Lions, right? They are.
This is the one I want right here. I want the Seahawks.
You want the Seahawks, yes. So what is the path to the Lions continuing it on and just taking a chomp out of the neck of that Seahawk and feasting on them this week?
Well, they don't have like a pass rush because you saw what Stafford did to him last week. He was looking kind of vintage last week. He didn't have any touchdowns, but he was picking them apart. Now, Goff don't have Stafford arm and can't fit it in certain windows like Stafford, but I do feel like he has an opportunity. I can see Laporta having a big game because actually last year that was T.J. Hawkinson's best game with us against the Seahawks. Like they couldn't cover. I mean, now Wagner's back, but I do see him having a pretty good game. I think they might take Amon-Ra out the game because I don't know. I like him at corner. I can't front. But I do think we'll be able to run the ball. Like Jamal Williams had a good game against him last year too. So I think we're even better at the running back position this year. So I want to blow them the fuck out. I do. I don't like the Seahawks. I can't stand Pete Carroll and his stupid gum. Like,
and they got blown out by the Rams. Like a lot of people were picking the Rams to be one of the worst teams, and they allowed something called a Puka Nakua and a Tutu Atwell.
Yeah, I ain't know
both of them. I think I was actually in the main draft area in Kansas City when Puka got drafted. And I was thinking, oh, that's a pretty cool name, but you just don't think he's going to make an impact. So they got blown out. What's your score prediction for the Lions?
35-17.
35-17.
Yeah, they got to come in. They coming in for a field. I really feel like we're going because Dan Campbell lost to him to Pete Carroll twice. They blew us out the first time. Last year it was like that was like the 45-42 game. Like we couldn't stop them, they couldn't stop us. This year we got something out in the secondary that can compete. So I think that will be better.
The Lions defense is no joke. And interesting. I thought the Seahawks defense was going to be better this year. I think they're missing one of their key pieces right now.
Oh, and they don't have that left tackle or right tackle.
Yeah.
That's another thing.
Yeah, they're in trouble.
So yeah, Trevor, what
I had the Seahawks winning. This is what I'm saying. The NFC North all screwed up for me because I thought I had the Seahawks winning that game. I'm with you, 7-letter. I'm out. That with those guys gone, they're in trouble. And so I'm going to do 28-17. And I think Gibbs looks better. I think if you're in fantasy football, you want Gibbs right now is the time to try to trade for him because you're not going to get him. I think Goff's going to look good. But I think you're right, though. I think the CVs are pretty good in Seattle, and I want to give them credit. But I don't know, their linebacker core, like you got Wagner in there, and he's 150 years old.
Yeah, he's still good.
You know, I mean, I like him, and he's a great guy and everything, but I just don't think he's going to be able to slow them down. I just think that defense is going to be – they're going to be all over Seattle. If they play anything like they did in that second half, it's going to be gross fast.
I hear you, brother.
What do you think?
Right to me.
Dale, what are you thinking on that?
I think it's to be 28-14. I don't see how Seattle can keep the defensive line. I think Hutchinson's going to have probably 2 sacks at least in this game. He's just going to eat all day long.
80!
Yeah, and you look at, I mean,
I'm liking this show.
Seahawks have,
got the blue juice out.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I mean, you want to see some competitive games. You thought Seattle was going to, be better this year. I don't know. What are your thoughts on this game, Craig?
Yeah, I wasn't that impressed with the Lions week 1, to be honest. I think that was, I know obviously winning at Kansas City is a tough feat. That wasn't a full strength Kansas City team, and that they played like shit. But I don't think Jared Goff played very well either. Like I think the Lions offense looked like crap. And so
Chiefs are good.
You can't overreact after week 1. And the Seahawks played well all last year, and I don't think you overreact after week 1 just because they look like shit week 1. I mean, I think I think it's gonna be closer than you think. I don't think it's gonna be a blowout. I think that Seahawks team is too good. That being said, their offensive line is a mess right now. They just signed Jason Peters this week to try to play left tackle. I don't know if they plug him in week 1, after signing him.
I know Jason Peters.
Yeah, I mean he's about 103 years old, but like
40. He's about 101. He's with the Bears, so
yeah. But I think it's gonna be something like 30-27. The Lions probably win the game, but I think it's closer. I don't think it's a blowout. I don't think that's an easy victory. And maybe it's just my I can't let Detroit in my mind be a good team. I think that maybe that's my mental block, but like I wasn't that impressed with their victory week 1. They did what they needed to do. I mean, but I also don't think the refs are going to let the right tackle line up in the backfield like they did with the Chiefs. So, I mean, that's probably going to help Aiden Hutchinson get some sacks too. So,
And then here comes my son Aiden.
I could see it. I could see it if the Seahawks played like they did, and Aiden Hutchinson goes off, then it could be a blowout. But
man, y'all trust Geno Smith like that? You tripping? Tripping. He
all right, Andy.
All over
yeah, I'm going 31-14 Lions too. I mean that Lions defense. And I did have I'm in a dynasty league, and I ended up picking up 3 defenses just to kind of mess with people. But one of the defenses was the Lions. Hutchinson, and now I'm scared of Hutchinson versus the Bears offensive line, let alone Seattle and everything. So I do think the Lions are going to win that game 31-14. So kind of moving on to the Packers. They are, obviously coming off this win. Now they're versus the Falcons. They may not have Aaron Jones. So Dale, what is the path to the Falcons or to the Green Bay beating the Falcons this week?
Not turn the ball over.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the only reason they won at Carolina is Carolina turned the ball over a bunch of times. I think that the Packers defense against the Falcons put 8 in the box, stop Bijan Robinson, and Desmond Ridder is very similar, plays similarly to how Justin Fields played in this last game, which, I mean, I don't know how Trev feels about what he feels about Darnell Savage, but the Bears game plan made Darnell Savage look like a competent safety. The Falcons will do the same thing because they don't throw the ball down the field either. And that's goes towards Savage's strengths. When he's coming forward, he's great. When he has to backpedal, he's terrible. And I think that's going to be good for the Packers. And they just need to play good football and they'll be fine. They don't turn it over and they'll win this game.
What's your score prediction?
I don't remember what I said on our show, but I don't think it's going to be that close. Maybe 24-10, somewhere in there. I don't know how the Falcons score unless Bijan Robinson can go off in this game.
Trevor, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think we just have to stop the run, and that's harder to do. That team can run the ball. They ran it all last year. Algier was amazing last year. So I think him and Bijan, if they can figure out a way to slow them down, it's over. Because like London did he have a catch last week?
I don't believe so.
And
he has 0 points. Yeah,
I don't think he's getting anything like much. I mean, he might get a few catches, but I never wavered on this pick. I just think the Packers are going to win this one. But the problem is this: no Aaron Jones and potentially again no Watson. And that's worrisome to me, though, because Jones is an elite. He's elite. Is he top 5? Maybe not, but he's elite. He does things special, and I think like then the question is like how's our run game going to be? And Dylan, I love him. I think he's a great person, and I love his size. If they are trying to swing him out, we're hooped. He's got to run right through and just plow people over.
Yeah, I don't like the way y'all use Dylan at all.
He didn't look good last week for sure.
Yeah.
But so I am worried about that. Those are the things that concern me. So if they have a good run game and we don't, so I'll just quick to get to the chase. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be close. I'm going to go 21-17. Green Bay.
Packers. All right. What about you, seventh letter?
Well, like he said, I don't. Watson isn't playing, and Aaron Jones may not play. So I do think that's going to make him a little bit more one-dimensional. And their defense played pretty good last week, although it was against the Panthers. This will be when I measure Jordan Love this week. I couldn't really. It's not gonna look as good this week if he goes 15-27. You understand what I'm saying? Like if he's 15 for 27 this week, it won't be a blowout like last week. It just won't. He has to be better than that. He has to complete more. His completion percentage has to be higher this week. I think that the Falcons got a pretty good D. They signed Calais Campbell, the safety from the Bengals they signed. He had like 2 interceptions last week. So it might be a little bit closer than we think. Because of the way Green Bay played last week, I will give Green Bay the win, but I don't think it'll be a blowout. It'll be a little bit closer, maybe like 20-17, something like that.
20-17.
Yeah.
All right, and Craig, where are you at on the score for this game?
Yeah, I'm thinking like something like 17-16 the Packers win, but I think it's a very close game, and I think that defense for the Falcons is very underrated. They're a very old school kind of football team where they want to run the ball and they want to play defense because they don't have a quarterback that can really do much, and they don't have the receiving talent. So they're trying to run the ball, they're trying to like slow the game down, and I think they can have success, especially if Aaron Jones was playing and Watkins was playing. I think it might be 28-10, but like. I think without those weapons in Green Bay, there's not a lot that scares you. And with that strong of a defense in Atlanta, I think it's going to be a very close game. I think the Packers still win because I think they're the better team. But yeah, I think it's very close and a very low-scoring game.
So, Kyle Pitts and I think Drake London gets off the schneid this week. And it's at home, Falcons. I'm going to pick the Falcons here, 27-17. I am going to say I do like the Falcons defense better than the Bears. Bears had so many secondary mistakes as well that I didn't bring up. And I think the Falcons, just with that 1-2 punch, Algier was also good this past week too. So like he's solid. They've got some solid players. I trust Arthur Smith, right? I think he is a good play caller. I mean, if he's doing just a good coach. So Desmond Ridder, we'll see what he does, but he may not need to do that much. We'll kind of see. Yeah. So moving on to finally the Vikings. Craig, what is the Thursday night path to riding the ship versus the potent Eagles and getting away from that bad man, Jalen Carter?
Yeah, I think obviously your key is going to be to hang on to the ball this week and not have 3 turnovers. You're not going to, if that's the case, it's going to be a complete blowout and not a close game. But I don't think the Eagles were that scary too. As much as we talk about that defensive front they had, Mac Jones had over 300 yards passing. The Patriots are moving the ball. So it's not like they killed him. They weren't the Cowboys. They didn't just like destroy their team. Jalen Hurts looked like crap. And so, I'm thinking they actually have a shot. The Vikings have a shot. I'm going to go ahead and say they're going to win it 20-17. Go on the road. Everybody's going to be surprised. But I think either way, whether they win or not, it's going to be a very competitive game. I think the Vikings bounce back. If they play like they did in the first half and just eliminate the turnovers, it's going to be a very good game. The Vikings looked pretty good outside of the turnovers on offense. I just think a lot of times in the week 1 in the NFL, it doesn't look the same in week 2. You see teams bounce back and teams that played extremely well kind of go the other way as well. And I think both teams 1-1 out of that game makes sense to me overall. And maybe it's just me keeping hope alive for the season because we got the Chargers coming up next, and I really don't want to start 0-3. But I'm gonna back my guys in purple and say we're gonna go on the road in Philadelphia and surprise everyone.
Dale, are you on the Vikings train, on the Vikings ship?
No, I can't be. I just don't know how the defense of the Vikings stops the offensive line of Philadelphia. I don't know how that happened. Their defense isn't very good. Now, granted, they didn't give up a ton of points against Tampa Bay, but these are 2 different teams. The Bucs and the Eagles are different animals. I mean, the Vikings can score points. Justin Jefferson, we say it on this show, we say it on our show too. Justin Jefferson is a great talent. I do worry though, at the end of the game, he looked like he was ready to walk out the door and go play for somebody else or pull a Stephon Diggs because he was hot.
Yeah.
He looked like he was out, like I'm done. But that said, they'll throw the ball 15 times in this game and they'll score points. I think it's going to be relatively close, but I think it's going to be high scoring because the Vikings are going to have to score to stay in this game. So I think it's going to be something like 28-24, somewhere around there.
28-24.
Philadelphia
Eagles. Yep.
That's optimistic.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. That's a one-score game kind of thing. Makes sense to me.
What about you, 7th letter?
Oh man, remember last year? They just put Slay on JJ and took him out the game, and Kirk Cousins threw 3 interceptions. Maybe not 3 interceptions this time, but they got somebody that can kind of, shadow JJ one-on-one. And again, your other guys got to play, and I don't see it. Bill Belichick is the master of pulling everybody down with him. He makes everybody look bad. Like that's just the way. That's just a Patriot defense. They're gonna, So and Mac Jones is, he played well last week. He looked like he grew up a little bit, but I think that the Eagles come around this week. They might kick y'all ass again. It might be a little worse. Might be a little worse than last year. To me, I just don't think that the offensive line can hold up against their defensive line. I think that JJ won't be the world beater like he looks every week. You know what I'm saying? It'd be kind of like what the Packers did to y'all last year, 1-on-1. They got a competent cornerback that can stick with them. They got pretty good linebackers. The defensive line is world class, so they're gonna be chasing poor Cousins all day. He might crack his rib again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not a good matchup.
What do you got for a score?
24-6.
Okay.
Yeah, y'all not gonna be able to run the ball on them. I'm not Matt's in it.
No, we're not gonna be able to run the ball on them at all. I mean,
so
that
makes
defensive front's
one-dimensional, which is not good. So no.
Yeah, there's gonna be no run game from the Vikings this game. I can't see it situation. I don't think we're gonna get 50 yards on the ground. I mean, I think it's gonna have to be all in the air.
Yeah. I mean, Nakobe Dean's out, right? I mean, that'll be a factor.
That helps.
But the rest of that defense, it's solid. I mean, Trevor, are you on the Eagles bandwagon here too?
Yeah, I'll just do 28-17.
28-17. Okay. And yeah, when you look at it, it's going to be hard. I've seen what Jalen Carter did with just that defense, what they keep coming at you. I agree with you, Seventh Letter. I think, Patriots defense and Belichick there, he's been one of the best, for a reason, right. So I'm going to go ahead and go Eagles 31-13 Eagles on that. And, we'll see this division. It's, if the Packers win and the, obviously if the Packers win, Lions win, Bears and Vikings both lose, if it's that way, it's just going to be a huge chasm between. It's just it's not going to be good for our side over here, Craig. But it's always going to be an interesting week. So
I do think though that Craig raises a really good point about it. It's an interesting how strongly we feel that this and that is going to happen after 1 week.
Yeah.
And I do think there'll be there were shockers this week. Like the Bengals was a shocker. Like I saw a lot of people predicting that Cleveland was going to win, but I didn't think they were going to blow them out. Right. No one thought that the Cowboys are going to blow out the Giants. So I think there's going to be some weird things that happen this week. I don't know if it's in our division. So that's the thing that I'm having a hard time with is I feel like we're really confident, and it's this is a league of parity.
Well, and I think the one thing we've left out with the Eagles is they're missing 3 starters on defense. Nakobe Dean's out, James Bradbury's out, and their free safety Blankenship is out too. And so that's a lot to miss on week 2 in the NFL. That's massive. And that secondary, I think, when you're going against Justin Jefferson, and then even if you shut him down, I mean, Jordan Addison showed he has some talent. And so I think, I think that's how the Vikings case stay in it. But that's not how you have those weird bounces, though, too. It's like, okay, one guy had a great game, and so now you think that defense is unbeatable. And it's like, well, no, maybe that's just a good week. And so, yeah.
What time is the game? Is it at 1 o'clock tomorrow?
I know what you're doing, Seventh Letter.
It's not gonna happen, bro.
I mean, Kirk showed up in some big primetime games last year too. I mean, I know he got blown out to the Cowboys and the Eagles last year, but he had some good games as well last year. I think that's
keyword was Eagles.
Yeah.
Trevor, I know you talk about not overreacting, and I'm trying not to overreact to the embarrassing Bears loss and everything. But you kind of look at right now in what's kind of going on with the Bears and the Vikings, and it's some of the same things you were saying, Craig. It sounded like what I've and other Bears fans have been saying about the Bears this week. Secondary issues, right? And I was on this podcast last week saying the Bears were yes, I did say the Bears were probably one of the best secondaries in the division. They looked lost. They let Musgrave, run wide open, and obviously Love missed him. There were so many missed assignments. And so a lot of the things, Craig, you've seen about the Vikings, I'm finding out about the Bears. And then even like with Kwesi, a lot of people are questioning polls as well. So it's hopefully, it's just 1 week, hopefully, but after 2-3, we start to find out what are these teams really like.
I don't think that the Vikings are that bad. I just think that they're playing a better team. So they're going to go 0-2 in my opinion, but they're going to go 2-2, and then they end up playing someone good, right? Then they play the Chiefs at home. It's like, who knows? You know what I mean? Like, maybe they find a way. And so maybe they go 3-2. Like, I don't think the Vikings are that bad.
There we go. They Chargers.
They can beat the Chargers. They can beat the Panthers.
Yeah. I'm hoping everybody beats the Panthers this year.
Right? Yeah.
I
was hoping that Rodgers was going to play 65 snaps too.
I was just going to say that. Yes. So that is the big thing. One last thing we'll kind of finish on. When you look at that, yes, I mean, you don't want to see a player go down, and Trevor went back on forth on Twitter with this a little bit too. But Rodgers, he's kind of made his bed, he's kind of that persona, that jerk persona where he just, he's full of himself. You kind of look at that, but you don't want any player to get hurt.
Not like that. Not that.
That was awful.
Yeah, not that.
See, my opinion is it's bad for Aaron Rodgers. It's bad for the Jets. I mean, that franchise had some hope finally, and I know they were going nuts and they're going way too much, but I think it's bad for the league. You want your stars to play. Like, can you imagine owning tickets and you were going to say the Jets are coming into town and this is going to be awesome, and there's a lot of hype, and he's gone, and it was just going to be fun to watch him on a different squad and see, hey, maybe like I don't think the way he's talking about Green Bay, I don't know, I'm not all in. I think he's a bit of a diva that way, but I love watching him play. I was really excited to see what he could do. That run game is legit. The defense is fantastic. So I wish he was healthy. My question is he done? And I know he's trying to tell you all that he's coming back and he's looking forward to. He's old. That's I heard it's a grade 3 Achilles tear. That's not easy to come from. I don't think he comes back, and I hope he comes back. But I think that's the last we've seen of Rodgers, and I'm sad, to be honest. I was excited about this season, and I love watching him. He's my favorite player of all time. But I know he's on a different team. But I people who are cheering for him and all this stuff, or Packers fans that are mad that we went from a first pick to a second pick. It's like, guys, like, it doesn't matter. It's a human being here that just, like, grade 3, that would kill.
Speaking of killing, Dale, did you go out to that bar and ring up a bar tab?
Ring up a big bar tab? I did not.
There was one in Milwaukee that did you see that, Trevor? That they had this promotion. Anytime the Jets lose, it's free bar or free tabs.
Yeah. And I'm sure when Rodgers got hurt, people were like belly to the bar. I'll take 8 shots for my 2 friends back here. Just loading up their bar tab. Yeah.
But Josh Allen gave him the game.
He did.
He was
Josh Allen's
like
regressing,
to the Vikings last year. Same shit. Like, what is wrong with him, yo?
Yeah, I'm not a Josh Allen.
He misses day ball. Day ball.
I like him. I like him.
Wait a second here. I thought Josh Allen was elite.
I did.
He is.
Okay, wait. So coaching matters?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So maybe Fields is elite too. We'll just go with that.
Elite talent.
Yeah. The difference between Josh and Justin is Josh actually has the balls to throw a deep pass.
He'll push that ball.
Yeah, and so
I'll give you that.
He
I'll
made
give you
some
that.
mistakes.
Yeah.
He made some mistakes, but he believed in his wide receiver and he just chucked it up. because lots of times it works for him.
I'll give you that. So yes, definitely appreciate you guys coming on. Craig, where can everyone find you again?
Yeah, I'm on the Daily Norseman, dailynorseman.com. Write a few articles a week for them, and you can catch me on X Twitter at GA_SKol.
Very good. And Dale, what episode are you guys on coming up now?
Episode 132 dropped right before it came on tonight. The Travis Jervey episode, because 32 is one of the worst numbers in Packer history. You can find that on Spotify. You can find us on Twitter at AvgCheese.
I apologize, but I'm going to have to skip that episode. I don't want to hear any more Packer excitement for the week. It's a little bit too much.
Yeah.
It got quiet in Bears country. I'm just saying. It got quiet.
Jesus.
And because we keep telling you, you better not lose.
Yeah, he said that. Yeah.
You better.
Yep. And now I got to listen to all this daddy talk all year.
No. The new thing is that he's this newest stepdad. That's the best one.
I have not heard that. Thankfully,
that one is awesome. I'm gonna make a meme of that. I'm gonna
have to block you, Trevor. All right,
it's true. 3 touchdowns, no interceptions.
Trevor, where can everyone find you?
You can find me at Rev Trev K on Twitter, and then Kempner Sports on YouTube. I'd love for some people to check me out.
Absolutely. And 7th letter, the King of the North so far. Where can everyone find you?
We are tied. You find me on
more points.
You find me on Twitter, 7th letter 4. Same OG on Facebook and Instagram, and on the top of the NFC North this season.
All good things, guys. Once again, it's Freezin for NFC North Podcast, episode 58. We will catch you next week. Thanks again, guys.
Cheers.
Thank you.